Yo, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. So, I think silver is starting to become more widely accepted from the everyday person, not only just investors or silver stackers, but I think that it was pushed away over the years, especially since the gold standard hasn't really been in play. And people are starting to see it more valuable because once upon a time, silver was king, gold was king. But after they got rid of the gold standard, I think people started to push it away almost as a rebellious investment to some extent. I think people perceived silver stacking more for preppers, SHTF survivalists, and like coin roll hunting just for fun, coin collectors. But people really forgot about silver's fundamental value that it brings in a society. And I think it's really important to remember this stuff. And I hope nowadays, as silver gains traction with its price and gold as well, people start to hop on board and get reflected upon its value and what it does in the everyday world to at such an extremely alarm rate, because it's not only just everyday people, but the industries, the corporations, the companies as well. I think people are starting to finally see it as potential as it once was. But I know you guys understand this stuff, but what does it take for the everyday person to catch this and understand this stuff that we talk about in these videos and we discuss in the comments? I think when silver was 2011, or silver was $50 in 2011, that was the main topic of discussion. People understood this, and media was covering it. It was in the news, it was everywhere. But once the price lowered, once it bottomed out, once it leveled out, people forgot about it. It's almost like they're only on board when prices are high, and if it's a bear market, or if it's a slower market, then they're gonna push it aside and find the next hottest thing that's going to be making them dollars instantly, but forgetting about the bigger picture, which is the most important piece of evidence we have of the fundamental values that silver holds in society and what it does and how much potential there is for it. So I know a lot of people don't have the patience that some of us do. A lot of us understand that silver is a slower market, and we are patient enough to wait and preserve our wealth for the long term. But a lot of people also want that instant gratification, that want those dollars right away. So they're into quicker investments, which, if you are one of those people, I recommend getting into something like stocks or cryptocurrency, because silver definitely is a more slower paced investment. But if that's the case, then you're only in it for the money, which is missing the whole purpose anyways. So I think that over time, since media has been covering silver more, this will drive in newer investors. There's been a 40% increase in coin shops, people buying and selling their jewelry, their bullion, their precious metals, which is good. Even if they're selling it, that's still good because it's still in circulation. A lot of it gets remelted if it's gold. And I think that at least people are planting that seed to understand that precious metals have value. A lot of people think that if you're buying gold, it's only for jewelry, and don't really understand the bullion aspect of it, or understand the supply and demand ratios, or what the gold to ratio means. But I know there's a lot of articles coming out recently talking about this, talking about what it does in society, what the production levels are, how it's been diminishing, all this stuff, which is going to be also, showing people that it's used as a it's highly used in the everyday world. It's not just something that is fancy, that's shiny. It has more value than just being shiny. There's many, many, many uses for it. So I think over time people will start to remember this, but obviously the main driver, the main motivating piece for this will be as prices rise. So as silver and gold rise, hopefully over the next couple of years, this will gain more traction. Media will be covering it more, driving in new investors. Not only, well, even if they do come in for just the short term, at least they got their feet in the door. Most likely, more than likely, they'll come back into the market as time, progresses, especially if it keeps appreciating. So, people will come in and out. A lot of newer investors have weaker hands and aren't in it for the same extent that a lot of the long haulers are. But as long as they're in it to some extent, it's definitely going to be helping the market and also helping themselves. When I first got into silver, I didn't think that I was going to be taking it as serious as I did or that I do today, but it's something that just kind of just happens. And as you understand more of the coins and the history of the coins and how the whole thing works, you understand other parts of life, other parts of the world as well. You understand global, economics, surplus, so many different things, our financial system, the reality behind our banking system, the true value of a dollar, where these coins come from. There's so many fundamental things that I've learned from silver stacking, and I think it's going to be helping the economy and the society as a whole, definitely for the long term. And there's other parts of this that we could take. I want to dive a little deeper because when there is new investors coming in, how is this going to be affecting silver's price as a whole and also for the near future? I just made a video, earlier today talking about how 2020 has a lot of potential for silver's price, and I was mainly talking about that from political and economic factors, whether it's the 2020 presidential election or whether it's silver supply lowering from the top producers, kind of abandoning silver. But what about demand from new investors, all this new money coming in? We know that historically, we know that money coming into an asset or into an investment is one of the strongest influences for the price appreciating. So if we do have all these new investors coming in, this is going to be really interesting to see what happens because we know that the demand will be at all-time highs, but the supply might not be able to fit that. So what would happen if this was the case? And what would these industries do? Would mining companies start to focus on it more, seeing that it could be more profitable? Or what if gold is still more profitable? Or what if, they have to make up all this silver that they've lost or that they haven't been, that they haven't been really focusing on? But what if the supply still can't meet the demand? We know that low supply, high demand shoots the price up, but from a global scale, how would this be affecting things and how would it affect the price as well? I'm curious. And I'm also curious if these new investors, are going to be sticking around for the money or sticking around because they see it in the same light that we do, because we understand how it works. We understand the stock market volatility is driving a lot of people into precious metals, but how many of those people are going to stick around or start going back to the stocks as soon as stock market volatility starts to lower again, or when stocks become more profitable? When one thing changes to another, it's so easy to just switch over, but what happened? Where does it lie that no matter what stocks do, you're going to be investing in the precious metals because you see the true value in it? When it comes to intrinsic value, I think it's really important to understand what your investment does or how is it working in the everyday world. Like when I was getting a little bit into cryptocurrency, some of these coins or ICOs I was investing in because they had a real purpose. They were used in some type of way on the blockchain, but some of them had no purpose at all. So if you could kind of see which coins or what your investment is doing and the future lies ahead of it, you can kind of get a better idea on how much potential that investment or that asset or that coin has to appreciate in value, because that's what holds the fundamental foundation together. That's where spot price safety, or whatever spot price happens, whatever type of conspiracy or whatever type of threat lies, whatever type of uh, whatever happens in the economy, whether it's spot price appreciating or decreasing, whether it's the coin losing its value, whether it's that company, shedding light on it, calling it a scam, whatever the case is, being manipulated, the price is protected because it has real value in that pathway or whatever that is. Speculative conspiracy theories can go a long way, but if your asset really is worth something or has a foundation, then it can still hold some value in it, where other assets will crumble and bottom out to the ground. So I think that's something to really take in consideration when you are investing into investing in some of these things. Definitely think about that stuff, because for the long term, that will save you, that can definitely save you from making a very profitable purchase or making a life-changing, tragic purchase or investment. And we are investors, so this is definitely stuff we have to throw on the table. But for new investors in the precious metals world, I definitely think that a lot of people will be shocked when they start figuring out how fundamentally valued silver and gold have been for 6,000 years and will continue to be. especially if they start researching a little bit on the dollar and the true value of a dollar, how debt works, how hyperinflation is active in society, and what it's doing to their current wealth, or the quote unquote wealth to some extent. But anyways, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. I post daily videos, so stay tuned for more stuff. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.